everybody, and welcome to my Fourboysandanlgirl Podcast. My name is Patty, and I am coming to you this morning from beautiful Newfoundland and Labrador on the extreme east coast of Canada. I live on the island of Newfoundland in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. We're being visited by Angel the cat, so she's probably about to jump in and get videotaped as well. It is a gorgeous morning here in Newfoundland. The sun is shining. It's supposed to get up to 18 degrees today, thus I have a summery top on. It's just absolutely beautiful. I've already been out for my walk this morning and life is good. I'd like to welcome those who are new to my podcast. Thanks for dropping by and watching. I hope you like it. And thanks again for anybody who has been following for a little while. It's great to have you back, and I really enjoy our time together. So I'm really looking forward to us having a little chat about knitting this morning. And this podcast is about knitting, crocheting, quilting, sewing, rug hooking, basically making all the things. I am a very creative person and am involved in a bunch of different types of crafting and making projects, and that's what I talk about on this podcast. So the first thing I'm going to talk about this morning, I have not one, but two finished objects to show you this morning, and I'm so excited. If you've been watching this podcast for the past couple of episodes, I should have mentioned, this is episode 4 of the Fourboysandanlgirl Podcast. So I'm watching what the cat is doing. So if you've been watching this podcast for the past couple of episodes, you'll know that I've been working on one particular rather large project. And I'm really pleased to say that this morning it is finished. It's a finished object. So let's see if I can do some editing magic. Here's my sweater. Here's my sweater. My Ayrton sweater is a finished object, and I am utterly in love with it. I finished it at the Military Family Resource Center yesterday. It's already been modeled on by several of my friends around the center as they showed it off. It is warm, it is cozy, it is the perfect colors for the fall, and I absolutely love it. I'll insert a picture here of me wearing it so that you can see the full length of the sweater and how it looks. Not sure if I stand up here if you can see the folded over sleeves, the buttons. I have 2 buttons that I need to find and finish off with. It goes down about to mid-thigh length, and it's just so warm and cozy and absolutely delicious. I'm in love with it. I've been working on this sweater for over a year. I believe I started it last August. It's knit in Plymouth Mitsubishi yarn that I picked up during a trip to Alaska several years ago. And I'm really pleased to have it finished. It's a beautiful memento sweater of that trip. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it wears. A lot of the yarn at the edges when I had strands hanging off would felt really easily. It's a single ply yarn. So I'm interested to see how this sweater will wear over time. I have not blocked it, partially because I was so excited and wanted to show it to you. And I thought that it's going to take a long time to dry once I block it. And the other thing is because it has felted so easily without water and soap, I'm a little bit hesitant to block it. I want to keep it in its kind of pristine format. The only thing I'm not crazy about on the sweater are the sleeves. The set-in sleeves gave me a bit of a run for my money in terms of sewing them in. So it's not my favorite part of the sweater, but I still think the sweater came out quite nice. My next finished object of the morning is Tin Can Knits Caramel Slouch. Here's the front part of the pattern. This is a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to show you any further details than that. The yarn that I used for this project is from the Diamond Luxury Collection. It's called Fine Merino Superwash Aran. It's 100% merino, 50 grams in the ball, which is the equivalent of 90 meters. The color is 6782 and it's lot 41. This is actually one of my Christmas gifts, so that makes 2 knitted Christmas gifts that I've already finished, which I think might be a new record considering it's only the beginning of October. I'm not going to model this. I felt that my fake head actually does a nice job of being able to show off the cable and the lace pattern here. It's a gorgeous slouchy hat. Oops. Really soft. I did block this one. I blocked it on this styrofoam head, and it has done a gorgeous job. The yarn has softened up a little bit more, even though it was soft to begin with. And so here is my caramel slouch hat. This is my first project that I've ever knit with tin can knits, and I really loved it. I think one of the next projects that I'm going to have in my near future is a hat for my husband, and Tin Can Knits has a pattern called the Antler hat that I think I'm going to try. Katie at the Inside 23 podcast knit one for her husband a couple of weeks ago, and it turned out beautifully. So I'm thinking I might do one for my own husband. I rarely knit anything for him. I'm planning on having a pair of socks made for Christmas as well, so I thought it would be nice to chase that up with a hat to keep him cozy. He does wear hats. We call hats here in Canada toques, so it'd be nice to knit him a toque for Christmas. Now, the other things that I am moving on to next are my works in progress. As you can imagine, I spent quite a bit of time this week trying to get this sweater sewn up, so that's where most of my knitting time went. However, I do have a little bit of progress to show you in a couple of works in progress. The first is my hitchhiker shawl, which is in my Mrs. Brown's bags. This is the yarn that I bought from Little Bean Loves. Little Bean Crochet sells this gradient yarn. It's in the colorway 11. And as you can see, I haven't moved on into the different gradient yet. The gradients in this gorgeous yarn are quite long. So I believe last week I had 10 points completed. So it's a little bit longer than it was last week. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points completed. And of course the points are going to get harder or take me longer and longer to complete as the shawl widens. I love the yarn. It's beautiful, it's soft, it's knitting up into an absolutely gorgeous fabric. And I can't wait till the gradient starts to change. So that's really giving me incentive to keep going. Not that I really need incentive with this project. I'm quite keen to have this finished for Lynn's Sunshine and Bubblegum podcast's gradient cal knit along. I want to make sure that I have it finished for that cal, which ends at the end of October. So I've only got a few weeks. I need to get this finished. My next work in project is my short sleeve cardigan. I really haven't worked on this project a whole lot this week because I haven't had time. This is a top-down cardigan. And I have a progress keeper here to show that I knit a couple inches this week, which really isn't a whole lot of time considering how bulky this yarn is. I'm almost finished my first ball of yarn. I think this sweater takes 3 or 4 balls of yarn, so I'm almost finished my first ball. And I'm still really enjoying this knit. It's a lovely, relaxing, fun knit because of the size of the huge needles, so I'm really enjoying that. One of the things that's going to be coming up in my near future for knitting projects is I want to knit a cowl to go with this hat. So what I've picked out, and this is both the hat yarn and this cowl yarn came from my stash. These are actually, I had a friend of mine visit a few years ago, and as payment for staying at our house for a few days while her and her husband were visiting, she brought me a really huge box of all kinds of gorgeous wool, some that I can use for rug hooking and most that I can use for knitting. And these are 2 of the balls that came from that stash. So that's what I'm liking to use up. And I'm hoping that this is Drake. It's made by Estelle Yarns. It is, let's see, what is it made of? It's 70% virgin wool and 30% acrylic. It's a thick and thin. Let me pull that out. It's a thick and thin yarn. And I'm going to knit a free pattern that comes from the Estelle website. I'll put it on the screen. It's called the Drake cowl, I believe, which is actually the same name as this yarn is Drake. I'm looking forward to knitting. I knit one for myself last year. It was a quick and easy knit, and I'm looking forward to doing the same thing to match this hat. I thought those 2 colors complemented each other nicely and that would make a nice set for a Christmas gift. So the other thing I don't have any stash enhancement or Canada Post deliveries this week, but I did want to show you something that I found at one of my local yarn stores, Cast On, Cast Off. These are a set of gorgeous stitch markers that are handmade here in Newfoundland and Labrador, and they represent some of the beautifully colored jelly bean row houses that we have in downtown St. John's. These are made by Dawn's Creations. They're made with unpainted 100% polymer clay, and I'll put Dawn's information at the bottom of the screen as well. Now, I've seen Dawn make these, and it's a really neat process watching her make them. They are not actually formed flat. She rolls the clay into a tube and then slices them, and that's how she gets these beautiful little houses. Hopefully, here on there. Hopefully the camera is going to focus on that. And just in case it doesn't, I'll get a little bit closer. So that's red, yellow, pink, and green. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. You may not have noticed, but I had a telephone call, so I had a little bit of a break there. The next thing I want to talk about is a podcast that I've been watching. I'm going to try and have a podcast section in my episodes. I watch a lot of different knitting podcasts, and I just wanted to give a little bit of shout out love to the podcasts that I do watch. None of them are in any particular order. These are ones that I watch regularly, and for anybody like me, as I used to be 2 or 3 months ago, never watching podcasts, I thought if you were new to podcasts as well, these are ones that you might be interested in. The first one is the Twitch and Stitch podcast. It's a lady named Marsha who is out of the Okanagan Valley of British Columbia. Her Instagram information is under Fairy Little, and so is her Etsy shop. And Marsha's she's a really fast, very fast knitter, which I really admire. And I love that it's a Canadian podcast. The other podcast that I really enjoy watching is out of the States. It's hosted by Candy, a lovely lady who runs the Pause for Stitches podcast. Candy is another lady who has welcomed me quite warmly into the podcasting community, and I really appreciate that. Hi, Candy, because I know you're probably watching. It's been great to get involved in this community, and thanks so much for welcoming me. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is something new that I haven't done before. Over the past few weeks since I began my podcast, the number of subscribers has gone from 0 to almost 100. I think I'm at 95 subscribers now. And as a thank you to all this subscribing love, I wanted to have a little contest. And I'm not sure how I'm going to run the contest yet. I don't have a group created on Ravelry, which would probably be the easiest way for you to enter into a contest. But I know that there are some people who aren't on Ravelry who might want to enter. There are some people who are not on Instagram, because that's another way I could do it, is on Instagram. So I'm going to think about that over the next week, and I'll announce all the details, likely on Instagram this week, some details. So if you're not following me on Instagram and you are on Instagram, then go ahead and give me a follow, because I'll probably do a pre-announcement there of the contest. And in terms of prizes, I can tell you right now that there will be tea, there will be some yarn, and there will probably be some Newfoundland and Labrador specific treats in the package. So other than that, I'll leave everything else as a surprise, but I will show you next week what some of the prizes will be for that contest. So it's a short and sweet podcast this morning. Like I said, it's a beautiful day. I want to get out and enjoy it. The footage that you have already seen on the podcast is actually footage I'm about to tape. I haven't taped it yet. I'm going to go and do that now. So I hope you enjoy another little piece of Newfoundland and Labrador scenery. I really enjoy going around my local area and taping these little vignettes of my province. So I really hope that you enjoy them. And I hope for those of you who are originally from Newfoundland and Labrador who have gotten in contact with me, who are not living locally anymore, I hope it doesn't make you too homesick to see the ocean and some of the beautiful landscape that Newfoundland and Labrador offers. So thanks so much for visiting my podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you really have enjoyed it, please click the subscribe button below and so that we can meet up once a week and you can get the most recent updates in terms of when I post videos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!